Om Shri Sai Ram. I know it is after lunch. Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering loving and prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagawan. Esteemed elders, dear brothers and sisters, it has been such a wonderful week for me, almost a week now, in the US. Coming back after 11 years. I was in Boston about 11 years back, and this is the second time that I'm visiting the US. The joy that I feel when I am with Swami's devotees, the joy that we feel in each other's company is only because we can feel Swami radiating through each of our hearts. I remember once in Prashanti Nilayam, when the alumni who were working in the trusts and in the various institutions were having a program of, there was the Central Trust Day kind of a thing we used to celebrate. And we had this concept of looking at each other's eyes and seeing Swami peeking through the eyes, right? So Swami, I can see Swami peeping through his eyes at me, and he can see Swami peeping through my eyes at him. I think that sense of looking at Swami in each other's eyes is what makes satsang and these kinds of retreats so powerful. I know we are celebrating some wonderful milestones, and I thought it's important that we speak a little bit about that and my perspectives about some of these things. 50 years of being on the task and celebrating the retreats is phenomenal. Every single year, I can see the amount of efforts, and yesterday we were discussing that it's about 9 months of preparation. That means the moment this retreat gets over, within 3 months you'll start preparing for the next. Right? I mean, that's amazing dedication for a core team to ensure that everybody else gets a wonderful experience. 60 years of the Sathya Sai organization. That's an amazing thing. I remember last time when I was here, I had the opportunity to go to the other coast. And when I had seen that document which Swami had signed and given to Dr. Hislop, saying that he is authorized to start an organization in my name, it gave me goosebumps to visualize a young Swami in his 40s, authorizing when you really look at, I love looking at Swami as a human, right? Because I got to see the human element of it, and then seeing how he visualized the growth of an entire institution and built it up so that we can all benefit. And he, the young boy who grew up in a small village in the back of the beyond, writing a letter and saying that here is my representative who's going to start an organization in the US, and that organization is continuing today with all its glory. And this is something really worth celebrating, worth looking at with great devotion. There were so many great leaders. When we were seeing the images of the past presidents, I remember Mr. Hal Honig, Brother Hal Honig. We were there in one of those summer courses where he had come and taught us this song. When dark clouds fill our skies, hiding sunshine from your eyes. I hope we can sing that now, because it's been so cold and it's really hiding sunshine. But what I remember is Dr. Grace, David Grice. I had the good fortune of working with him. He, of course, has created the website for the satyasai.org. We were village boys out there in Prashanti Nilayam who had never seen the internet. We did not know what the internet had not yet come to Prashanti Nilayam. But we were assigned the project of creating the website of Prashanti Nilayam. So srisatyasai.org.in was the website that we were creating without ever having browsed the web. I think the youngsters will understand what it was. And we were visualizing everything around what the website should look like and how it should flow down and how lamps should be visible and how the essence of Prashanti Nilayam should be there at every home. I had written a 4-page note. I still, look at that note and, cherish the passion of that young boy in his 20s who wanted Prashanti Nilayam to be in every home. And then we saw the internet and we saw the landline connection and the screen coming and thought, my God, no, all our dreams went up. But at that point of time, Dr. David Grace was with us. He used to come consult with us. The reason I'm speaking so much about this is because how much of support, indirect and the subtle support that we get from Swami. At that point of time, we wanted Swami's literature to be, digitized. And I had started a project with Swami's permission of taking the old Sanatana Sarthis. And we had, in Prashanti Nilayam, we have the Sevadals. And different kinds of seva duties are given to the people. Right? Somebody in the gate, some in the canteen, some in the telephone desk, the telephone kiosk, etc. I had initiated one more additional seva with the Sevadal coordinator for typing duty. Right? Anybody who knew typing would sit in one room in North 1 or North 2, and I would give them one Sanatan Sarthi at a time, and they would keep typing in. And we used to get somebody who would do the hunt and peck kind of a thing also. He would search and one by one and very slow. But it was a painful process, and we had gone ahead with it for 6 months. I had got a few pages in, and as this was going on in the Purnachandra, I was already in Purnachandra then. I had seen a CD, I still remember it was a golden colored CD with a handwritten sketch pen thing, marker thing with the library project. So I had seen that and I looked at it and kept it aside. And it had probably come by post. Swami would have seen it and kept it aside. And I had seen it, I kept it aside. Then after a few days, again I happened to see it. So I got curious. I just entered it into my computer. I put the CD, and you should have seen my excitement at that point of time. I went crazy because all the Satyam Shivam Sundarams, all the Sathya Sai speaks, all 36 volumes at that point of time. There was all the Vahinis. Everything was in a digitized form. Right? And I was jumping with joy because it was 6 months of thing to type about 3 Vahinis we had gone through. And here was a ready-made project of everything. And that project I had given to Dr. David Grace. And that is what you see in all the websites today. Right? In the web, that's how it all started. So the small initiatives that we take, I remember going to Swami and speaking like a mad chap, with the joy of he would be saying, what is this? He's talking about a CD, but he's so excited and he's very happy, he's smiling at me. But my joy was unbound at that point of time because, and it is with these small initiatives, these small undertakings by thousands of people across the country, across the world, hundreds of thousands of people across the world, that this institution grows, that Swami's thing grows. Truly, the Parameshti, the divine entity that Bhagawan is, his legacy is taken care of, is taken forward by the samashti. Right? Only that is the only way to take it forward. When all of us collectively see one aspect of the Lord and participate in furthering that cause, that's when this beautiful thing continues. And of course, we are celebrating the magnificence of the 100th birthday. A big, big year for all of us. I know. I cannot even describe what it means to be celebrating the 100th birthday of the Lord. I remember first seeing Swami in his 66th birthday. I was a young boy of 17, and then we celebrated so many birthdays, but 100 is a big one. And to mark that milestone in such a big way across the world is something phenomenal. And I'm so glad that I got an opportunity here to interact with all of you as we mark the 100th birthday. I will speak a little bit more on this as we proceed. But I also want to reflect. Yes, we want to reflect on the magnificence of 100, but I also, because the topic that we have been given is the eternal companion, as we reflect on the word eternal, I want to throw a curveball at all of you and say that the insignificance of 100. It's insignificant when we look at it from the eternal point of view. 100 is nothing. What does 100 years mean in the eternal saga of the divine? What does it mean to be eternal? What is eternity? How do we look at Bhagawan? What do we mean by the eternal companion? As Brother Sundar said, that is it that you want him to be an eternal guard of your house when you go out, and so that he can protect your house? Is it the same mother to whom you go and tell your stories day in and day out? Is he the sucker of our lives so that we can go tell our challenges? Is he the inspirer, or is he something more? What is divine? What is eternity? Is something that I wanted to discuss, and the only thing I can think of is to visualize how Bhagawan saw himself, the envisionment of Bhagawan about himself, how he saw all of us, the Divyatma Swarupulara that he used to tell. What does it mean? So today I'll be speaking a little bit about the reflections of the eternal. I was very much tempted when Brother Sundarayar started the Bombay boy style of talking, and I'm also from Bombay, by the way, so we are all both Bombay boys, and I completely resonated with his fascination for the Bollywood. I was a big fan of movies. I continue to be. I enjoy movies, and I wanted to do the freewheeling, but I thought because it's a post-lunch session, it would be good to have something very serious and very heavy today. So we will do a little bit of heavy lifting today, because I was 17 when Swami had made us do this heavy lifting, right? And it has been 25 months since I have spoken. I haven't spoken for the last 25 months. After 25 years of, 13 years of serving Swami, and then 12 more years of speaking about Swami, after those 25 years, I suddenly fell silent in Kuala Lumpur. I had gone to KL, and halfway through the speech, I almost froze. I was not able to proceed. I was not able to continue there. I requested Dr. Suresh Govind. He's a, dynamic. He's a dynamo of, he's full of energy. I called him, brother, can you please come up, and then can we do these sessions together? I was supposed to give 3 speeches, and in the middle of, I think, the second one, I froze. As I was narrating one specific incident, and it was about this. Can I have the slide, sister? It was about this picture of Bhagawan. All of you have seen this picture before? This had become so famous in the 1990s, right? Everybody would have this in their pocket. Many people. There were incidents saying that there was somebody had a heart attack on the road, and somebody had a photo of this, and they rubbed it, and that person revived, and this became the miracle picture. The picture of, see, he's holding it with him. Do you know when this photo was taken? 24th May 1991. If you go to the website, if you go onto the Google, somebody has, I think, given some wrong information that it's 5th of May. I remember this because this was my 4th day as a Sai student. I was 17, all of 17, just like Brother Sundar. And on the 4th day, this materialization happened. We were sitting in the discourse, we were listening to Swami, fresh out of Bombay. Swami had just spoken to me that morning, the only talk for the next 5 years, I think. And he had asked me, how many idlis did you eat? And I had boasted in the hostel, saying that, kya yaar, 4 idli dete hain, main ghar pe 10 idli khata tha. You know, they are only serving 4 idlis, I want to eat 10 idlis. To a friend, I whispered it to a friend, and here is Bhagawan asking me, how many idlis? You know, it had answered all my prayers, saying that yes, is he listening was a question. And he had answered that prayer with that question, that not only am I listening, when you speak to me, I also listen to you when you're speaking to your friend. It was a shocker to me that morning. But that evening, as we were sitting in the auditorium listening to Bhagawan, utterly overwhelmed by the flow of Telugu, right? And the almost indecipherable English translation of the translator there. Then it was, in the post-lunch, in the evening session, after having been through an entire day of lectures, summer course was difficult for us fresh students. And Bhagawan was going on and on. We used to say right from the first ball, he's hitting the Atman Brahman bouncers, we used to call it, right? We wouldn't understand head or tail of what he's trying to say. I'm setting the context. There are young adults here who would be wondering, why is this fellow torturing us with these words? But I want you to go through what we went through. But because I know the pain, I'll make it interesting with lots of incidents from my life, but I want a framework. And Bhagawan, he was speaking about many of these esoteric concepts, and all of a sudden his hand, typically we had seen already, I was 4 days old, his rotations would be small rotations, and then he would pick up vibhuti, and he had given a few rings to a few boys, and we were, and 4 days old, and all of a sudden on the stage, his hand went like this. And there was a gasp, and then it came in his hand. And he was speaking that it was the Hiranyagarbha. And I'll never forget that image of Swami, the way he was holding it, and all of us craning our necks, all like if we were dogs, then our ears would have been that way. Completely attention, all attention, trying to understand what did he do, what just happened, what did he create. And he did not speak much about the Hiranyagarbha on that day, but we had Professor Sampath. I was so happy that somebody spoke about Professor Sampath all of a sudden today, and saying that Professor Sampath was his boss. But Professor Sampath was the Vice Chancellor then. And as the summer course proceeded, at the end of the summer course, on the 31st of May, because of Dr. Sampath's request that, can you please enlighten us on what the Hiranyagarbha is, Bhagawan gave a discourse. So this is my request to the organizers. If they are uploading this video of this speech, please give a link to the 31st May 1991 discourse of Bhagawan. Right? 31st of May, Bhagawan gave a discourse. I've been listening to that discourse like on a loop, trying to understand what he has said. And that is one of the most compassionate discourses of Bhagawan, because he is trying to explain to all of us in very, very simple terms, which was very heavy at that point of time, that we were 17 and now 2 more 17s have gone through, right? It's 34 years and now it's making sense to us, to me at least, right? And this is what he had spoken about. All very heavy words, right? But the thing is, This is Bhagawan's way of looking at the world. This is Bhagawan's way of wanting us to see the world. Don't be overwhelmed by these words. We'll unpack it slowly. We will have lots of anecdotes to unpack some of these things. That word that you see forget the first column. It's like look at it as a 3 by 3, right? The first 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 2.123 and 2.3.123. Look at it from that point of view. Here is Bhagavan trying to convey something very, very powerful, right? And when he started with the Hiranyagarbha, he created the Hiranyagarbha, right? The Hiranyagarbha, Swami had mentioned many times, is the womb through which all creation happens. What a horrible word the modern scientists use for it. What do they call it? The Big Bang. Where is Big Bang and where is Hiranyagarbha? The golden womb of all creation. And that was Bhagavan holding the golden womb. For me, in KL, that penny dropped. Saying that here is Bhagavan whom we are describing as the fun-loving, kind, compassionate, beautiful Lord. He perceives himself as the creator or the holder of the Hiranyagarbha, of the womb, the golden womb through which all creation came through. For me, when that penny drop happened, I could not speak anymore. It was too much for me to handle. We look at Bhagavan as our cute Lord. There is now a tendency to create those pillow dolls of Baba. I've seen. It's that soft toy. I saw in Puttaparthi there were some soft toys that were distributed. I didn't know whether to be offended by it or saying that, but that's how children associate the Lord. He's the cuddly Lord. Right? He is that also, but he is this too. Let us not forget that he is this. And he's trying to teach us, he's trying to tell us about these concepts. It was in 96 when one of those words opened up for me. I have narrated this incident earlier. 96 was the time when my world changed. Bhagavan had picked me up out of the hundreds of students, 1,000 plus students, and decided to train me, to grill me further, and to make me useful. And as part of that process, he would really give me lots of chances, speak to me. And sometime in May, again in late May, the summer course had just got over in 1996. And he asked me to go sit in the car. You would have heard this multiple times, but I want to narrate this. I went and sat in the car. I was sitting next to him. And we were going for a drive in Vrindavan. There was another gentleman in the front, and a devotee of Swami was driving the car. And Bhagavan all of a sudden said, "Hey, kya dekhta hai?" He's asking me, "What do you want to see? Kya dekhna chahte ho?" But he said, "Kya dekhta hai?" Swami ko dekhta hai, Swami. That is different, sir. Kya dekhta hai? Rama dekhta hai, Krishna dekhta hai, kya dekhta hai? Then it dawned on me that he's asking, what do you want to see? Who do you want to see? Do you want to see Rama? Do you want to see Krishna? You can imagine, right? This is the first time I'm sitting in Bhagavan's car. Bhagavan, who is, when he's out here, he looks, grand and beautiful. When he's next to you in the car, he's bewitchingly beautiful, but the hair looks so big, right? It's huge. The halo up close is disproportionately big, of the hero of, and he's sitting next to me and is turning on a, turning towards me this way. I was on this side. He's turning towards me this way and asking, "Hey, bolo ra, kya dekhta hai?" I told Swami ko dekhta hai, Swami. That is different, sir. Is insisting. Old man dekhta hai. Do you want to see the old man? Shirdi Baba? Nahi, Swami. Narasimha dekhta hai? Nahi, Swami. Definitely not. Right? I mean, this halo is enough. If I get the lion mane, we won't have place in the car. And no, this is to a 22-year-old who is, who's trying to grapple with the fact that you are sitting inside a car. The words of Dr. Hislop floating in through the head, saying that you are inhaling the same air that God has exhaled, right? That line is going through my head, and here is Bhagavan saying that, "Do you want to see Narasimha Avatar?" And I said, "No, Swami." But he's insisting on the answer. So I thought a more politically correct answer would be, "Swami, I want to see Vishwarupa," right? Because I'm not partial to any one avatar other than you. I'm like, I want to see your cosmic form, Vishwarupa. And he who was sitting like this, and on his armrest was on his arm was on the armrest, the other arm almost this way. "Hey, bolo." The moment I said, "Swami, Vishwarup dekhta," he sat back. He did that. Put his hand outside the window. I was seeing all the fields outside, and he said, "Roz dekhta hai, samajh mein nahi aata." You're seeing it every day, but you're not realizing. He's trying to release us from that imprisonment of what is called the Vairagya Sutta. That means we consider ourselves to be the offsprings of the Virata. We are imprisoned in these small bodies. All our problems, what Bhagavan has been telling us continuously, is that you are not the body. You are not this entity. You are not the entity. That is the gross body. That top layer, what Swami is talking about, is the gross body layer, right? He's saying, you're not that. You're not that. You are connected. And that connecting force is what he talks about, is the Vaishvanaraha. That means my hunger is the same as your hunger. The reason why he makes us do all these sevas, all these seva activities, right? Especially feeding the poor. He wants you to see the hunger in others. And he wants you to know that their hunger is no different from yours. He makes you do the medical camps to understand that your sickness and their sickness are the same. Understand the oneness of that connect. He's breaking you, trying to break us out of that imprisonment. We are imprisoned in that top right corner. That is what we are. We are imprisoned in that top right corner. We are just individual beings born out of the Virata, and we considered and we die imprisoned in that one small thing. In every aspect, every loving gesture of Bhagavan, every loving beckoning of Bhagavan, Divyatma Sarupulara, Prema Sarupulara, right? Every aspect is for us to remember, for him to remind that you are beyond that. And he's restless. He's telling that Roz dekhta hai, samajh mein nahi aata. You're seeing it every day. When will you open your eyes? For the last, this was 96. For the last 30 years, I've been trying to figure out what did he mean by that. What is that Virata Swarupa? How do we feel that oneness? How do we make sure that we don't get lost and continue to be imprisoned in that small Vairagya Sutta that we are looking at? And the more we, dear brothers and sisters, the more we look at our seva, this one is about the Jnana Marga and the Karma Marga. This one, the next one would be about the Bhakti Marga. It'll be a more free-flowing one. Bear with me, because if I do not do this speech, this heavy one, I will never be able to speak again, because I want to be able to understand this. I want to be able to convey this, because this has been such a beautiful part of my life. This is Bhagawan. It dawned on me that all of Bhagawan's effort is just to release us from that top right corner. Just that top right corner. When that dawns on us, all our perception changes, all our activities change. The way we do our seva, the way we run the organization, the way we approach each other, the way we look at ourselves, everything changes, because our entire effort is to say that one small top right corner is not our playground. This entire thing is our playground. In the top right corner, one small family problem becomes a hurricane. Right? Sri Paramahamsa used to say that in a small puddle, an elephant's foot can create all the dirt, all the puddle to get muddied. But in an ocean, the whale moving around creates hardly a flutter. Right? In that small prison, all our problems become challenging. But in that larger thing, there is so much more to be done. It hardly matters. The other problems do not matter at all. And for me, that urge to break through that prison walls was the urge for that came through that intense yearning and love for Swami. I remember, going to Swami every day, spending about an hour in the interview room, talking. He would talk about something or the other. He would ask me about what new things did you learn in college? What were the new points that you heard in yesterday's discourse? He would feed me. I remember one of those days when I was just seated at his feet doing Padaseva. He was talking to the vice chancellor and the registrar and the others. And that day, as I was sitting, I had kept my hand on the armrest, and he was playing with my fingers. Normally every time you put your hand up there when you're seated down, and he was playing with my fingers. And as he was playing with my fingers, an uncontrollable surge of energy, of happiness was coming through, as if I wanted to giggle, I could not suppress it. Just that joy of being in his presence. So those were my 1 hour spent with the Lord. I was still a college student. I was an MBA student, and in the hostel, I would not be able to sustain. I just wanted to fly back to be with Swami. That urge was so intense. In my childish way of trying to break through that prison, I used to think about, how do I come out of this body? Right? I remember sleeping in the dining hall and not trying to pull myself out so as to my body would become limp, and I should imagine that I'm me, whatever the me is coming out of my thing and then flying towards Swami. I used to imagine. But that urge to break free was there. Knowing that this is not the only existence. This is what, I'm sure, Brother Sundarayar has had his own set of experiences. You all have had that deep urge, that cry for something more in life. And that is the urge that he inspires in all of us, right? And so in this hostel, I used to do these crazy things, trying to get out of this prison, only to realize that that's not the way. Obviously, that's not the way. That's a child's way of trying to imagine things. But it is through expanding the consciousness. It is through seva. It is through finding empathy, to widening our spirit. And those were the things that he kept teaching. In one of those moments, I remember one day in the hostel, I had a severe earache, right? And I could not bear the pain. I could not, it was so intense that I did not know what to do. Should I go to a doctor? Should I not go to a doctor? Just for about half an hour. And then the pain subsided. And as if it was not there at all. And the next day when I went for darshan, as usual, around 3 o'clock, I went inside and I saw Swami had already come in, and he was sitting on the throne. And I told Swami, late aipoindi, Swami, I've come late. Swami, I told Swami, late aipoindi, Swami. Then I did not know what to do. Then I was telling Swami, Swami jaldi aaya, Swami aap jaldi aaye. His lips comes out. I told Swami, ye main Swami. Again he's doing this. Ye main Swami. Swami, kya hua Swami? Then he slowly told, kal bleeding hua. He's telling there was bleeding from my ear. Swami, you know that, Swami only could hear from one side. He could not hear from the other side. As a child, he had lost the hearing because, they were swimming in Swami should say, they were swimming in the water, in the Chitravatis. So this is the 100 years, right? In his 10th year, probably, they were swimming in the water, and after they swim, they take some thing and they remove the water from that. And he was doing that. One of his cousins came and hit, right? And said that it was all filled with blood and it came out, and so that year had gone. So this is what Swami narrated to me. But he had lost this ear and he could not hear anything. And and he did not say anything. He's only telling this, only those words. It will be all right. It will be all right. But it was such a painful thing to see Swami. But then it started dawning on me that, did I feel the pain that he felt? Was there a disconnect? Was there something that I broke through? Did I feel this thread? Was this what Sutratmaka means? Is that what, now when I look back, right, is every single experience that he's trying to show, can I feel the pain of others? Can we really feel the pain of others? Does that expand our consciousness? Do we break out of this prison only by expanding that consciousness? We are not imprisoned by, we are not only the gross body, we are not the Vairaja Sutta, we are the pranic force also. Brother Sundarayar will be the best to speak about that. But to me, I had gone to a yoga camp, again, in the last 25 months, in search of the answers, after being struck dumb, not being able to speak about Bhagawan anymore, because I felt just narrating anecdotes was not the purpose of my life. There was something more that needs to be done, that we collectively need to do. Now, of course, there is a lot of other challenges that happen within the organization that depressed. But more than that, on the personal front, I had gone to a yoga camp, and that's where I found the concept of the breath. What brother was talking the other day, the prana. Saying that there is much more than just the physical entity, much more than just trying to scratch the back, as brother was telling yesterday, right? More than just this physical entity, there is the prana, there is the feeling of the energy, the higher energy reaching to recesses of the body that was hitherto untouched. Because of our lifestyles, because of the way we were living, how you could suddenly feel the prana reaching and rejuvenating parts of yourself, your health improving, your back becoming straighter, your body becoming better. And as I was thinking about that, it started, the mind started speaking, that saying that the same thing happens in society. That there are parts of society that is devoid of the pranic energy. That because of poverty, because of lack of education, because of ignorance, there are people who are suffering that need not suffer. Because if the flow of energy, if that flow of energy is managed well through seva, through our kindness, through our empathy, through our compassion, when that energy, so we are moving from the vyashti to the samashti. So look at these columns. The last column, the third column is the vyashti, the individual column. If you see, second column is the samashti column, where it is, we are trying to find the connect between all of us, the one connect that is connecting all of us. And these were all the words that Swami used on that 31st discourse, 31st May discourse. All these words are from that discourse. Every single word. He uses the word virata and says that virata has got two other meanings. He uses the word Hiranyagarbha and says Hiranyagarbha has two other words. And he uses the word avyakrita and says it has got two other terms. He is taking his time to explain. And we should be grateful to Sampath sir, Professor Sampath, for having asked that question, for having brought out this discourse. All of us must do our sadhana, brothers and sisters, to read that, to listen and read that discourse. Have your group sadhanas around this. Shrikant, spiritual brother, get that done, yaar. It's what a powerful discourse. It's an unbelievable discourse, right? So he talks about that. So if you look at it, and the third one is the Parameshti, vyashti, samashti, and Parameshti. Maybe the second one can be thought of as samashti and srishti. All of you know vyashti, samashti, srishti, Parameshti. Anybody wants me to explain? Sorry, I'm in a teacher mode now. I'm the school professor now. Okay, so Swami gives this beautiful example, very visual example of what I like to call the systems approach to life. Every system is part of a subsystem. Every subsystem is part of a larger system, and which is itself a subsystem of a larger system. So he says, just like the finger is part of the palm, and the palm is part of the hand, and the hand is part of the body, so also an individual is part of society, society is part of nature, srishti, and srishti is part of Parameshti, the divine entity. So it is a systemic, it's a organic relationship. It's a connected being kind of a thing. So he says that it's not separate. So he is trying to tell again and again, I'll be repeating like a broken tape, that we are imprisoned in this thing. We are not even coming lower here. We are stuck there, up there, saying that we are what we are. The first line, the third column is what Swami says, who we think we are. What you think you are. Second column probably is what others think you are, because that's the interconnected thing. Because I will understand you because, okay, you're also wearing the specs, so probably you have the same eye problem as I. So I think that you are wearing specs so that's what I think who you are. Right? Because I will look at you from my perspective. So that's the connected thing. That's where the more empathy we have, the more we are releasing ourselves from this column to this column. And then our quest is to reach the highest. And there's absolute silence now. I'll lighten it up with some beautiful incidents of how he's inspiring us to break those prisons. This was, the date was 6th of October 1999, I remember. I don't remember, but I've written it down. But it was it's a very, very important day. I was had finished my MBA. I was living with Swami in the Purnachandra auditorium. My daily schedule was like so fixed. Brother was telling yesterday about the importance of schedule. 5:45, the cook would come with with a small plate of apples and half a glass of rava ganji, the rava porridge, right? And he would go upstairs. Swami would take that half cup of rava and this thing. 5:55, he would come down. And within 10 minutes, he would be down. And I would accompany from Purnachandra to the Prashanti Mandir, go into the kitchen. I would sit there. 6 o'clock exactly, I would get that half an hour where I would turn on the radio, because nice bhajans used to come in the Karnataka Vivid Bharati channel. I still remember, this was 99, and that was my half an hour of entertainment. And then 6:30 the bhajan music, the darshan music would start 6:30, 6:45, and I know that Swami has started from the mandir. So this was my schedule every day. Every single day I go there. Then when that music starts, I would go to the interview room, slowly peep, have one peek of Swami coming from the Purnachandra for darshan, and then again go inside and sit in the kitchen. And I would have brought some of my office work, and I would do some reconciliation of bank things, etc. This was my daily schedule. On this day, it became almost 6:45, 7 o'clock, no darshan music. In those, towards the last few years, we used to have irregular darshan. Swami would not come for darshan, etc. But it never ever happened, right? For 70 years, every single day Swami had come for darshan. Every single day, yesterday again, brother was telling, same pick the rope from the variety of shades of orange, right? But he would come for darshan every day, and that day that music wasn't coming. And then the phone rang, and the message came that Swami is calling me back, that I should go back to Purnachandra and sit in the ante room. That there was a small room, where the lift opens up. It's a very, very small room, maybe 10 feet, 12 feet by 8 feet, a small, very small room. There was one throne of Swami and two small chairs. And Swami had told me, Swami had sent message that I should be seated there. So I was seated there, worried, why has Swami not come for darshan? And it was very unlike Swami to not come for darshan. So that concern was there. And I was pacing up and down. Nobody's telling me what happened and why Swami has not come. He said, you have been instructed to sit there. So Swami is inside the room. I am pacing up and down. And it's all silent. There was some sunlight coming from the side window. I made it bold to go and look through the small crack in the door, and I saw that Swami is lying on the bed. And as I was peeping, Swami turned and looked straight into my eye from that crack. I froze, and then did not have the guts to move out. I was just looking at it. He looked at me for just 2-3 seconds, and then turned again. So I slowly withdrew myself, not wanting to be seen again. I sat there for about 2 to 3 hours, not knowing why, what's happening. But I had seen Swami. Swami looked at me. And after that, the mind was calm. And thoughts started flowing. The thoughts of unity, thoughts of oneness, thoughts of the entire existence of my life coming to this moment. That I am here today because of every single moment of life. And I was itching to write. I did not have a pen to write. I had nothing to write. There was, for the first time, I had never written a poem before. And this was a poem that was emerging. Around 11 o'clock, Swami opened the door, looking fresh, as if nothing has ever happened. Anta baunava bone chesava, did you have any food? Told Swami gemaindi em ledra baunanu, nothing, I'm fine. What happened to Swami? No, I am fine, kind of a thing. He came down, and he had his at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, he has something to eat, and nothing was spoken about why he did not come for darshan, and nothing. But I had to. Swami told, poi rest isko, you go and take rest. And I went into my room, snatched a paper, and then wrote. I was not able to stop writing. I just kept writing. And I would like you to listen to the poem that I wrote, because this is something that is the breaking of my first experience of breaking those pillars, of those bars, right? Of saying that there is oneness, there is unity. And here is what the poem that came out. I think this whole poem was written in about 10, 12 minutes without a stop. So it is definitely not mine. It says, on the 6th of October 1999, have you sighed at the crescent moon smiling? Have you gazed at the twinkling stars winking? Have you waited with the fluffy clouds sculpting? Have you gasped at the setting sun painting? Have you fantasized with God? Tell me, have you been fascinated by God? Have you replied to the gentle breeze whispering? Have you whistled at the mighty gale cooing? Have you listened to the window panes muttering? Have you rubbed your freezing jaws chattering? I did today. Have you shivered with God? Tell me, have you quivered, yearning for God? Have you stared at the gentle flame swaying? Have you glared at the subdued embers glowing? Have you smelt the merry campfire crackling? Have you winced at the midday landscape shimmering? Have you sweltered with God? Tell me, have you been purified in the furnace of God? Have you stood beneath a gleaming droplet quivering? Have you run from a sheet of rain overtaking? Have you frolicked with the paper boat bouncing? Have you reached out to the dark clouds pouring? Have you been drenched with God? Have you been drenched in God? Tell me. Have you towed busy ants parading? Have you towed busy ants parading? Childhood memories. Have you tiptoed to a quick squirrel scampering? Have you tarried with a gritty spider weaving? Have you worried a devout mantis praying? Have you admired God? Tell me, have you admired with God? Have you chased playful puppies fighting? Have you relaxed with a snug cat licking? Have you been drawn by a tottering kid hopping? Have you been touched by a hungry calf suckling? Have you smiled with God? Tell me, have you smiled at God? Have you pinched naughty noses wrinkling? Have you answered curious eyes twinkling? Have you cajoled scolded lips pouting? Have you tickled toothless gums grinning? Have you adored with God? Tell me, have you adored God? Have you wiped perspiring brows dripping? Have you stretched strained backs aching? Have you patted hungry bellies growling? Have you lifted exhausted eyelids drooping? Have you toiled with God? Tell me, have you toiled for God? So tell me then, have you lived with God? Have you lived for God? Have you lived in God? Tell me, have you? And so, the entire existence, dear brothers and sisters, is for this moment, for one moment of inspiration. Every single thing converges towards that moment when you find yourself face to face with divinity, where all the chattering of the mind disappears, where you are finally finding that oneness. And that's the third level here. You know, the words that Swami uses in his discourse on the 31st May discourse is so powerful. The way he describes that last row, right? The way he describes every aspect of that. He uses the word prerana. He uses that that's the word, that's the place from where inspiration emerges, where the mind is silent, where everything goes silent, and you are in the presence of the Antaratma, he says. Now, we have heard all these things in our EHP teaching. We have heard all these things in our SSE things. You know, the turning the mind toward the senses, towards the Atma, and that's one is bondage, one is release. This is what it is. That is the bondage. This is the release that he speaks about, right? And that silence, in that 3 hours of silence, is what I experienced a release like never before. And to a 25-year-old young man, trying to figure out what the world is all about, what is one's purpose in life, what am I doing in this, having done my MBA, being in Swami's presence, getting scolded by Swami every once in a while, leading a small existence of, doing the banking reconciliation and a little bit of investment here and there. What am I doing in life? Right? And then these things emerge, these inspiration emerges. So living with Sai is about living in the present, living and enjoying in the present. And I remember having read this poem to Swami, and Swami was so happy to see this poem. And after this, there was one more poem which Swami told you publish in the Sanatan Sarthi. But it's not about the poem. It's about what the Divine Master inspires in a young heart. What the Divine Master, not through his physical presence, but by withdrawing his physical presence. On that day, he was behind the door. It was me with my thoughts. It was me with my yearning for someone behind the door. It was me with my mind getting silenced, because everything is focused on that entity beyond the door. It is just out of that love that all this outpouring, my whole entire existence made sense because of the silencing of the mind, because of the focusing of the mind towards that entity behind that door. And that is not an experience that is limited to this guy Satyajit. Right? It is not limited. It is accessible to all of you. With love, with complete attention, with yearning for an entity beyond our reach. That focusing of the mind, that focusing can happen only with the exposure to a Divine Master who has come to, fill our entire existence. Right? That's what devotion is all about, that he is the reason for our existence. He is the reason for everything. To be able to focus, that's what sadhana is all about. That's what our meditation is all about. It's not a ritual. It's not something that we do every once in a while or do it every morning with no outcome. It's about that few moments that helps us release everything. That's the creative space, dear brothers and sisters. This is where the organization gets rejuvenated. Where as an organization, when we stop doing too much of thinking of the second row, where the pranic energy as an institution is not restricted anymore, when the minds are not confused anymore, that's where the last layer opens up. That's where the inner witness opens up. The antakarana of the organization, of the individual. That's the place. The inner witness is such a beautiful thought. It's the one that without any reaction keeps absorbing. You, as an institution, as an organization, when we look around the problems of samashti, of our society, when we look at the problems of nature, without judging, without saying that, okay, I want to run, I have the pressure of making a project run, without the pressure of planting 1 million trees, without the pressure of having 100,000 SSC students. No, that's not, that is getting stuck at a second level. When we come to a retreat, when senior members of the organization come to a retreat and stay at this base level, absorbing, listening to the young adults, listening to the balvikas, listening to the problems, thinking, not planning yet, just allowing it to sink, allowing it, just absorbing, just being the witness. That's where everything gets released. Business people, in business, this is the creative zone. This is where innovation happens. This is where the poem comes out. Right? The reason I narrate is not to show off my writing ability. It's about saying that when the mind is silenced, when we are broken, we have broken out of that top right corner and have come down all the way here, that's when creativity happens. Not for just for the individual, but for everybody, for the institution. And in that discourse, another release that I used to find was, because I'm talking about the institution now, some of the most beautiful things, to me, most satisfying things that happened in Prasanthi Nilayam were ideas that I was able to suggest to Swami when I was doing his Pad Seva. Right? When there was a ritual, a 20-minute ritual, where I had the opportunity to sit at his lotus feet and apply lotion to his feet, right? Just massage his feet under the heel, the toes. Karunananda Garu used to do that. You would have seen that. First time when I had seen Karunananda Garu, I was afraid for Swami, right? I was the way he would hold each toe and turn and do that. And when Swami would be reading his newspaper, giving his toe this way, and he would be wreaking violence on Swami's toes. He would be pulling every single toe. And first time, and the only time that I got a chance to see him in Purnachandra, I had come down, Swami had called me, I had looked at, I was looking with terror. And but I had heard some incident of Shirdi Baba, where somebody was massaging Shirdi Baba's stomach, and somebody told the person who was massaging that, oh no, you should not be massaging so hard. And Baba becomes so violent, he takes a stick and puts it on his stomach and says that, do you think that hurts me? Do you think that hurts me? I was that got reminded. I said I should not tell Karunanandaji anything, right? but that's a memory. It was his meditation. And years later, many years later, I had that opportunity. But that's beside the point. When I was doing that, that's when the mind would become absolutely silent. The mind would be completely silent. And I have seen many a times I would suggest something and I would get hammered for that. I would say that pichi ideal niku vastuntayi. Like all mad ideas you keep getting. But I have never been rejected for an idea that had come into my mind and which I had uttered when I was doing this. Never. 100% success. Because that's when the mind is silent and there is the fount of creativity that comes internally. I think as individuals, as an institution, as an organization, we need to feel that. We need to come to that level and find out. Because the word avyakrata is that which is not manifested yet. We have not even thought of projects that we could do to benefit society. We have not even considered, we have not even thought, let it come. Swami was reading the newspaper once, and I saw him sobbing. Right? And the whole newspaper was shaking. And he was reading that article of one woman who had dropped her child into a well and herself jumped into the well because she was not able to feed her child. So, mana Bharat deshaniki ee paristhiti vachinda. Saying that is this what Bharatvarsha is all about? That we cannot feed a woman, that one woman with her child, our daughter with her child has to commit suicide because she does not have food. And from there, the entire that was the inner witness, the Antaratma, that was the Paramatma listening to those things and empathizing and feeling for that woman. And from there, the entire movement of Narayan Seva started, and the entire organization machinery was moved, right? So the ideas that emerge from that, the creativity that emerges from there, then you start planning, the planning phase, and from the planning comes the execution, right? I think these are certain things that I thought I should discuss on the first day when we discuss about the eternal companion. The eternal is not just the same Lord being available to you day after day. Somebody had told me that, do you have 20 years of experience or 21-year experiences? If you're doing the same thing again and again and again, you've got 1 year of experience 20 times over. Is that the eternity that we want? Or do we want to go to the depth of what the divinity is truly about? And what he has come to give us. Do you want his companionship the way we want him to be a companion? Or do we want to be his companion the way he wants to see us? Right? He has always told us Divyatma Swarupalara. And we are still avyakrata, still the Vairaja Sutta there. We are stuck with this physical. Our problems are the problems of the self, the problems of our tiny self. My promotion, my bank balance, my health, my back, my neck, my weight. so different. It's these problems. Is that what we want, to be eternally having our companion listening to our complaints? What is the eternal companion that we are looking at? So I thought this would be a good reflection to really look at eternity from a much larger perspective, that he is the one who can we go back to the other picture? He is the holder of the Hiranyagarbha. He sees himself as the one who has created the womb through which entire creation has come. Do we really want him as the companion? Do we think we can rise up to the expectations of a master who sees us that way? That I want companionship. And when this happens, then you have the ability to dip into infinity. We can dip into the fount of infinity and bring out creativity, bring out everything. You can go to the next slide. The center word is Ishvara. Ishvara stands for Aishvarya also. That means there is infinite value to be unlocked. Because you are listening, we are listening to people. Business people, I think, business professionals should listen to this properly. Organizations should listen to this and listen to that discourse and really understand what that discourse is. And this is what eternity is all about. Eternity is not just infinite time. How many numbers do we have between 0 and 1? How many numbers do we have between 0 and 1? Sorry? Infinite, right? It's infinite. There are infinite numbers between 0 and 1. In that one discourse of Swami, there is infinity. Right? One discourse is enough for us to understand eternity. One interaction with Swami is enough to understand eternity. The eternal companion is the here and now. Right? And I think these were some things that I'm so grateful to Swami that I was able to speak today. I was really concerned. I was worried whether I'll freeze again. Whether this was a worry. 25 months. I'm grateful to Swami that That's about it, brothers and sisters. I think let us cherish the dear Lord, who is our master, who is our Ishvara, who was the Avyakrata, but who through the Hiranyagarbha manifested himself as the Virata Swarupa for us. He emerged from the unmanifested entity that he is. He emerged for us, showed what infinity can look like in a lifetime, in 100 years. And That is what we need to aspire to. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Jai Sai Ram.